Let's do it.
So, yeah, this is the first episode for Okanagan Vlogs, and nice to meet you. We did spoke somewhat on the social media, and we love your content. I know that you have been doing this for the past 2 years, but how did this all started, Jensen? In your own words, feel free, go for it.
It mostly started because I didn't have a job after COVID. I got laid off from my not so amazing retail job.
Okay.
And I realized that I really wanted to have work that I was excited to go to and that could also be remote. I love to travel, it's a big part of my content creation. So kind of through trial and error, it was like, this I think is the best opportunity for me to be able to have a career and actually enjoy what I'm doing every day.
So being an influencer has made your life easy then rather than going for a typical job. Where
I like to say that I pretty much quit my 9-to-5 job to work 24/7. I don't know if it's necessarily easier, but what I like so much is that I get to work on my own time. I don't miss activities. I don't miss family birthdays because I couldn't get the shift off. I can just adjust my schedule and I can be there for the big moments. So
the bigger question for you, Jensen, is: are you happy doing this?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy. It's been a learning curve. I'd say only in the last 6 months have I really gotten a groove where I'm consistently landing enough work that I'm not stressed all the time, but it's been growing, yeah.
So you're passionate about it?
I'm definitely passionate about it. I think if I wasn't passionate about it, I wouldn't have lasted this long.
That's great. So basically, can you tell us how you got started in content creation and digital marketing, and what inspired you? So yes, it was COVID and you lost your job, but did you try before creating videos? Did you look up to somebody or?
Yeah, I was spending a lot of time on my phone, like a lot of us were, and I ended up stumbling across this whole part of TikTok and Instagram of like creator coaches and how they were teaching people how to monetize, and I totally got sucked in, and the algorithm fed me more and more and more until that was all I was consuming every day. I did meet some pretty cool people to look up to, and I had a business coach about 6 months in, and yeah, from there I just realized you can actually make money. It doesn't have to just be a hobby, and that's when it's pretty awesome.
All the stuff you like.
Yeah.
And you had a business coach to, I assume, to teach you all of this, how to maintain all of your pages consistently.
Yeah, that was part of it. Part of it was social media coaching, but the other part was all the back end of being an influencer. You have to pay your taxes, you have to be set up in business negotiations, and that was the part I really didn't understand. I didn't actually know how to run a business, so that was much needed coaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I assume in terms of qualification, so what are your qualifications like?
Just a lot of time on my phone, I would say. Social media is one of the things that I consume a lot of. So I've learned pretty much on the job. The business side of it, I did take some courses, but I'm not formally educated in social media. This is a career that I stumbled into mostly.
No, it's very amazing, that you don't need a degree to prove that you can be by yourself in the world. That degree is just much more valuable, I guess, than this piece of paper. But it's in the real world, it's not practical, I guess, these days.
Yeah, it's not for everything. Of course, there's jobs where education is super valuable, but in this kind of career, you just kind of have to throw yourself in there and learn.
True. Do you feel like there are a lot of people who look up to you that want to be an influencer someday and can totally learn something from you? Is that one of your goals along the journey?
I don't know if I would call it a goal, but I think it's a product of what happens. When you're sharing your whole life online, people follow you and they get interested. I've met some really incredible people in Kelowna starting to create content, and it's been one of the coolest parts.
I hope I'm on that list.
Yes. It's so cool to get to connect with people like this. It's one of the best parts of the job, really.
True.
Don't you think now you get to know all these people, so you can use it to your advantage in other fields as well? There's people connecting from, I just saw your story, I think just a few minutes ago, and you're planning a trip to Mexico, I believe?
Costa Rica.
Yes.
I got that.
A fellow creator from Kelowna, her name's Caitlin Dickey. We are planning a full retreat. We're hosting in Costa Rica, and it's just going to be our community, our followers. Whoever wants to come gets to come. it's pretty cool.
And I also saw that you went to Venezuela.
I was just in Mexico actually.
Mexico, not
Yes.
Venezuela.
Yes,
Okay.
and that was a work trip too. I worked with an Airbnb down there.
Okay.
I know.
That's amazing.
I don't want to brag, but it's
Some,
kind of
yeah, some people are feeling jealous in this room. Okay.
So, can you share some tips or best practices for creating effective content? Because your content's mind blowing.
I think my best advice is to create content that you actually like. Because if you spend too much time overthinking it and worrying about the editing or the lighting, you kind of lose the purpose of the content in the first place. People want to consume content that they relate to. So if you love it and you're super excited about it and you're capturing things that, you know, light you on fire on the inside, it's going to be great. It will be great because, you know, you'll connect with people that way. I mean, of course, editing and, you know, a good camera, those are all, you know, important parts if you're going to take it as a job. But when it comes to actual content,
yeah, I think they eventually come, right? Like
Yeah.
you start somewhere, but eventually you get better. Editing will come, better cameras would come, but you just gotta start.
I think your niche is that you're trying to keep it original.
yeah.
Like it should look original. It shouldn't be like, you know, scripted. Shouldn't be designed. The more original it is, the more easy it is for people to relate and follow with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think people forget sometimes that social media is meant to be social.
True.
We're just trying to connect with each other, and you don't, I mean, sometimes you go on there looking for a specific thing, but sometimes, you know, whatever you see is what you see, and if you connect with it, then you're just gonna love it.
If I'm correctly, grew up in Peachland.
Summerland.
So,
Yeah, pretty close.
Close. So, what made you move to Kelowna? I mean, it's a neighboring town.
Yeah, it wasn't too far of a drive, but just a little bit of a bigger city, a little more opportunity, especially as a content creator. Summerland's incredible, and I've actually worked with some brands there, but it's just really small, so
True.
needed a
Less
little more
opportunities,
opportunity.
yeah.
For sure.
How was the beer fest?
Amazing.
Okay.
So good. So good.
3 words and they were perfect.
What are some of the biggest challenges you face as a content creator and digital marketer? How have you overcome them?
Yeah, I think my biggest struggle is that I care too much about what people think. And there's a lot of content that I made and I edited and I never posted. And it took me a long time to actually start posting whatever I actually loved because I was worried about, you know, somebody from my old high school or maybe an old coworker would see it and maybe they thought I was weird. I think that was my biggest struggle.
Have you ever been cyberbullied?
I have actually. Luckily, it was something that happened after I had already hired a business coach and been a creator for a while, so I already knew these are people that don't know me and I had the positive self-talk to get through it. I couldn't imagine though if that had happened earlier when I didn't have somebody to talk to because it sucks.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I just have one question for you. So tell us like how being an influencer has helped shape the community into a better place. Like, you know, there are a lot of influencers, but what is the difference that Jensen makes from other content creators in our town? Like what makes Jensen Jensen? Like, you know?
I think that I love working with small businesses and a lot of the time they're really new to influencer marketing and they have no idea. And I'll send them an email and I'll get back, what is that? Wait, what? What are you doing? And so I think what I love to do is to sit down with local business and before we even get started, I'll teach them how it works and say, hey, this is what you can get out of it. If somebody ever comes to you again, this is what you should ask for. This is what you should look for. And yeah, it's really connecting with small businesses.
In your own words, how would you say influencer marketing is better than the other types of marketing in our world out there? So why influencer marketing over the natural product-based marketing where they push the product, take it? Like, so what would you say, how is influencer marketing what's the difference in between these two types of marketing?
I think influencer marketing it's kind of like word of mouth marketing, but on steroids. It's
Okay.
you know, talking from one person to another person. You know, your favorite influencer, they're your favorite because you follow them as a person. You follow them through their life. You know their family, maybe you know their dog, and you really trust them. So influencer marketing, I'd like to say it is it's almost like talking to other people,
A normal
but on
person
a
about.
huge scale.
I think it's just connecting with the
Yeah.
person and it's just the trust associated with the person.
Yeah, exactly.
What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out as a content creator?
I would say jump straight in and just start doing it. Because like I was saying earlier, I didn't post for so long because I was scared, and it doesn't matter if your content's not perfect. It doesn't matter if you forget something or there's a typo in your caption. It really doesn't matter. I think my best advice would be to just start posting and start posting like crazy.
So any sort of content is better than no content.
Absolutely. There's definitely a bunch of, tips and strategy behind it, but when you're just starting out, you have to start somewhere. So instead of overthinking it and being so, focused on creating a specific type of content, I would just start sharing what you love and see what people respond to.
Absolutely. So when you first started, like, were you aiming for results right away? Did the results ever discourage you?
Yes, they were discouraging, but that was because I was just trying to figure it out, and I was pretty much, speaking to the wrong person. I was creating content how I saw other people create content, not in my own voice. So after a little bit of practice and creating more, I started making more content that was more authentic to me.
More of you.
And that just attracted the right people, because you'll eventually find your people. The internet's a really big place.
True.
They'll find you.
So how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and developments in the digital space?
That one is definitely something I think I would struggle with the most out of everything that has to do with being a creator, because I try really hard to stay off social media. Now that I do it for work, at the end of my workday, my phone is off. I try not to look at it. I try and take breaks. So sometimes I end up cutting out the scrolling for fun time where you discover trends and things like that. I do, however, utilize LinkedIn a lot. I've connected with some really amazing leaders in the marketing space on there, and a lot of them will just be sharing what's going on, so I can consume it quick and concise and in one spot.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I just have one question for you. Do you ever feel like when something's told to you that this is your job now or this is your work, you in an unconscious mind, you start running away from it, or your motivation goes down sometimes? Do you feel that way? Because I feel like everyone goes through that phase, that, man, it's the job, I want to do something different. Like, how do you find your own peace?
That's a work in progress, I would say. I definitely.
So you do struggle with it, and it's real.
Oh yeah. I hit major burnout and didn't post for quite a while, and then kind of everything went downhill. So I'm trying to learn how to, have social media and still really love it, and it also be my job, and it also not consume my whole life, and how I can balance all those.
Yeah, the balance. Balance is the right word.
Balance is hard. I'm not sure if I have all the answers on the balance, especially when social media is just everywhere now.
It can consume a lot of you, and do you ever feel like your personality itself has changed? If you meet the Jensen, let's say if you're meeting a Jensen 2 years back from now, what are the 3 things that you could tell Jensen from 2 years back today?
I would probably tell her to delete TikTok, because it's going to consume you and you're going to watch the craziest videos and you're going to waste a lot of time. I would tell her to hire a business coach quicker. I would tell her to not wait so long. And I would tell her to, I guess if I look back, I think I just wasted a lot of time. I just wasted so much time scrolling and consuming instead of creating. I actually log out a post and I check out what's happening on social media, and then I actually log out of the app, and I'm probably not logged in for most of the day. So sometimes I'm almost unreachable, surprisingly.
Makes sense. I was just gonna add this. I feel like, yes, you feel like you might have wasted a lot of time on that. But do you think it has also given you ideas how to generate more better content? Because that was the whole outcome of it. That watching 2,000 reels as fast, and 2 hours later, you have your own ideas that what you can do. So, do you think it kind of paid you as well instead of just taking it all in a negative way? If I'm making sense.
Yeah, you definitely are. I think that consuming content as a content creator is kind of a fine line because, at least with my personality, when I consume too much content, I start to wonder if mine is good enough. I try to make mine more like somebody else's. I like to, my rule is I create before I consume. So I will plan out my content, sometimes even film and edit it before I even start looking at content for the day. It's true you can get great ideas and get inspired, but you can also try and fit into somebody else's mold, which was my personal struggle. Is I ended up just trying to be like the people I was watching instead of just.
So jumping back to that question about finding new trends. So you feel like you sometimes mix and match with other people what they are creating, or because you mentioned you create your own content first and then take a look. So is it more so just doing your own thing and seeing what other people are doing better?
I think doing your own thing and then consuming is better. I find that when I'm creating content or just even trying to come up with an idea, all of a sudden, if I've consumed too much, I'm almost copying their words. I'm copying their format. I'm trying to edit the same way as them.
Running out of original ideas.
Yeah, and I get into the comparison game. So what I like to do is to create my content, or at least my idea,
and stick by
it, and remind myself that I'm not that person, so I don't have to make their content. I make my content.
True.
And then I use social media to laugh and enjoy it and connect with people, instead of constantly using it to compare.
And do you think this theory has paid off for you in a better way than
Definitely.
copying somebody else's ideas? Because I feel like that also happens a lot. Like, you know, people do copy and they just want to create something without a second thought, and it goes viral too, half of the time.
Yeah.
Half of the time it does go viral, but creating your own ideas, I think that's the whole fight to work on, being a content creator and influencer. Because if I'm taking your words behind your product, I should know that you mean your words. So, like, let's say there are 10 products in front of you and you have like 10 different contracts to work with. And do you feel like at some point for some products you have your own personal bias? Like, that doesn't allow you to maybe influence it, or you don't like it yourself. How do you handle that situation?
I don't work with brands that I don't love. And I don't work with brands that I wouldn't actually spend my own money on. In the very beginning, I made some mistakes, and I just got excited that a brand reached out to me, and I just said yes, and I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe a brand's gonna actually pay me to create content. And then I realized, it's not like this is a bad brand, but it doesn't align with me, I don't love it.
You weren't feeling like it,
So I would say I turn down about 50% of all the brand deals that come to me, because I only have time and energy to work on so many.
True.
And sometimes the trust of my audience is way more important than my paycheck. So, I mean, of course, as a creator, I come from a place that I'm really fortunate. Now that I've built up my business, I get to do that. In the beginning, turning down a job was like a stab to the heart, and I was just like, oh no,
what am I
could
doing here?
But I think actually in the long run, I've had more financial success by choosing my brand partners really wisely, because now there's more value to them.
And that is something you personally like. So if you're saying something, you actually mean it. You're not just saying it for the sake of saying it.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference. I appreciate you.
It goes back to the trust factor again.
Yeah.
Your audience will trust you.
Exactly.
So yeah, Hammy, if you're done, I think this is the time where we move to the flash round.
All right.
Are you ready for it, my friend?
I hope so.
Okay, I'll make it quick. What is your favorite thing about living in Kelowna?
The lake, absolutely.
Okay. If someone is visiting Kelowna for the first time, what would you recommend they do?
You should go on a wine tour, and you should go on a wine tour that has lake views where you can sit and eat. And I know that answer was too long, sorry.
Okay. No, but that is still acceptable. What local event or festival in Kelowna is a must attend?
Well, Caesar Week's happening right now, and it's top of mind. It was pretty great.
Nice. And what's your go-to spot for outdoor activities in the area?
I love the Mission and sitting by the lake there.
This is for Kelowna. What about Summerton?
Summerland. Ooh. If you go to Summerland Seats in the Trestle, you can have some amazing ice cream and go for a walk. It's a good spot.
Nice. Any hidden spots you know about Kelowna?
Ooh, I've got.
That wasn't in the list. I just made it.
I've got. Shoot, I was like, where are my favorite spots? I don't have anything anymore. Hidden spots. There is a hidden waterfall on Mission Creek. If you can find it on Google Maps, you'll have an amazing hike.
Okay. If you had to describe Kelowna in 3 words, what would they be?
Sunny, fun, and inviting.
Great answers. Great answers. What is the ratio for girls to boys in Kelowna? Again, that wasn't on the list.
I think that there are way more girls.
Nice. Okay, so I have some chats. What's the best restaurant in Kelowna for a romantic dinner?
Oh, I would go to Rod's.
Rod's?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Rod's? My general knowledge is just ending right now.
You should go to Rod's. It's great.
Rod's? And where is it?
It's downtown.
Oh.
It's delicious.
How did I miss it? Like if it's
Rod's
down-
has been in Kelowna for so long that you should go.
Okay, I'm refreshing my memory and it's still not clicking. Okay, cool. Where can one find the most mouth-watering brunch in the town?
Ooh, Diner Deluxe.
Diner Deluxe. I'd agree on that up in there. Favorite local coffee shops or cafes?
I love Sprout. You should go get the
Yes.
sourdough bread. It's so good.
We did a project with them too. It really turned out very nice.
Nice.
Bread's
Any hidden culinary gems in Kelowna that people may not know about?
You know what? Right beside Rod's in Micro, they have little like tapas dishes. It's really good in there.
Tapas?
Yeah.
I think so. I have that place in my mind, but now Rod's is also kicking in.
Yes.
Same
Yes.
here.
They're beside
Is
each
that
other.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's turn up the heat by a little bit here.
Alright.
Are there any overrated restaurants in Kelowna that you think people should avoid?
Cactus Club.
Cactus Club, I'd agree. I would give you 10 points for that.
I'm still gonna go, but
Yeah.
it's overrated.
It's And have you ever had a negative experience with a local business that you'd like to share with your audience today?
You know what? I have had some bad experiences with local businesses, but I like to remember that they are just people running a small business, and I've never had an experience that was so bad that I felt like, you know, people needed to know about it. Well, you know what? They made a mistake, and you know what? Maybe I won't work with them again, but that's okay.
For now, you're
Let
gonna
it
pass
go.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you can do. How do you handle criticism or negative feedback from the content you have created for a local business?
I have a really good cry, and then I try and come up with a solution. Probably I cry for like a good day, and then I try and come up with a solution.
Okay. What's stopping you from going to the solution in the first place?
It's too emotional
Emotions.
for me. I can't. I'm a big crybaby. So yeah, I'll have a good cry about it, and then I will try and come up with a solution. At the end of the day, there's pretty much always a way to fix it.
Regarding okay, that's quite cool, quite ethical. Have you ever faced any ethical dilemmas as an influencer? How did you navigate them?
Yeah, I worked with a brand that had a pretty big scandal, actually, back right when I first started. And I had to go back to my followers and say, hey, I made a mistake, I didn't know about this in the beginning. And I was really, really worried about it.
How did your followers react to that? Were they okay with it? Like, because I feel like some people can react like bad to that as well.
There were some people that sent me a message saying that they were kind of disappointed, but after I explained that it was something,
Wasn't your
it was
fault.
basically the situation was the founder of the company said some very controversial things, and it got picked up in the media. And I removed all the posts with the brand, and I said, hey, I did really love the product, the physical product that they made, but I'm not going to support a business whose founder speaks that way, and that's just my beliefs. You get to do what you want to do.
What do you want to do?
And by the time I had made all the statements and kind of explained how
How
this
long
happened,
was this did this happen for? Like,
I waited too long because I
Okay.
didn't know what to say.
again,
which
you were
was
a crybaby for the first day?
Yeah, because I was crying about it, crying to my mom, and my mom was like, "You should say something," and I was still crying and I couldn't say it.
Did you lose followers?
Yeah, did that affect
I
that?
did. I
You
did.
You did.
Yeah, but I learned from it, and I think if something like that ever happens again, I know how to handle it, and I think you just have to take the path of inclusion and being kind to everyone, and sometimes things get thrown at you, and that's all you can do.
You pick the best things you can find. Awesome. What's your take on ongoing debate in between supporting local businesses versus international chains? Because I feel like as an influencer, they wouldn't, like, you know, they don't hire influencers. They don't, have you ever seen like McDonald's or any other international chain that you can think of doing like an influencer marketing? Like, do they do that?
They do.
They do.
They do.
But I believe they might be looking for a certain size, like, you know, certain
I think
following group.
certain
Does that-
followers.
So how's your, did you ever, like, you know, try for that?
Well,
Like going for an international chain?
I have worked with some big brands. I worked with Canada Dry this year.
Oh,
and
nice.
Snapple, a couple of drink brands that are pretty big. But again, those are things that I actually would buy at the store and I had in my home. I didn't even have to buy the product for the shoot. They didn't have to send me anything. I already had it. So again, it was really authentic. I, as a creator, have to balance local businesses and bigger brands because at the end of the day, it's a business. So small businesses don't have the same budget. So I do have to play a bit of balancing with that. But again, it always, the first thing is, do I love it? And
True,
if I don't,
true.
it's out the door anyways.
True. Fair enough. And how do you deal with small businesses who have a limited budget to work with? Do you feel like that's always a problem? When you reach out to a smaller business and they like your work, but they simply say, sorry, we can't afford you.
That happens a lot, and I just have to decide if I want to work with them. Sometimes I can negotiate and say, well, okay, maybe you don't have any budget to pay me, but I do buy your product and love it, so maybe we can negotiate more gifted product. Sometimes I'll just do the video anyways because I want to support them.
True.
And sometimes I go, I have so much work this month, I can't take on another project that doesn't meet my rates. I'm gonna have to pass for now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And how many projects do you typically do in a month? Like after doing it for 2 years, I assume you might have set yourself to a certain number and pretty much plan your day out or a month out, because otherwise it will just fall apart if you.
Yes, I'm very busy. I currently am running my personal Jensen Kentel accounts, and I also have a comedy page that I run called Biz Jensen. And then I also, yeah, you should look it up. You should follow me. And then I also do creator coaching, and then I also create ads for large brands for them to run
Nice.
theirs. So basically, in a month,
You're handling 5 days, 5 tasks.
I've got 5 big projects going on. I probably in a month, between them all, work with about 20 brands, I would say, which is too many.
And then yet your day is like still jam packed after working with all of you.
Oh yes, I'm jam packed. I get up early and I work.
Yeah.
So what do you do where you do not make content?
When I'm not making content, I put my phone in phone jail because I'll just keep going and looking at it. So
Do you have a phone jail at home?
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
it's a basket. Yeah, we call it phone jail. And I dump my phone in it, and I'll go out and do an activity. I do love to hike. That would be another thing I would do. And I would just leave my phone at home.
What is the farthest you have traveled without a phone?
Well, by accident, I one time flew to Vancouver because I got to the airport and realized I forgot my phone, and didn't have time to go back and get it. But
How was it overall? Scary?
well, it was mostly inconvenient.
Inconvenient, for sure. I understand that struggle too. Like, you know, we went to this stand-up comedy show for Chris Rock, and they made us lock our phones in our
Did
pocket.
you use those pocket things?
Yes, those pocket things, right? And I was so scared for 2 hours if something happens, if, like, you know, plane crashes here, who do I call? Like, you know?
Yeah.
But I can totally relate with you, like
Yeah.
losing a phone on a Vancouver trip, bogus.
Yeah.
Continuing this question, what about without an accident? How far have you taken? Have you been without a phone?
I sometimes, depending on what's happening in my life, I'll turn off my phone for 2 days maybe.
Just to reset everything.
Yeah, or what I'll do is I'll actually just delete all the social media off of it. I'll just delete all the apps for the weekend, so my mom can still call me. But
Nice.
I try at least 1 day a week to have a total social media detox. I'm not on there at all.
That's good. Again, you're creating your balance, which is
Yeah,
good. Good
trying.
Perfect. And this is the last part, I guess. What would be the one message you leave for your followers who are maybe trying to become an influencer someday?
I would say that you need to. Okay, it sounds really cheesy.
Right?
Before I start to
Exactly.
say it, it's so cheesy. Like, you need to believe in yourself, but you do. But here's what I mean by that: is you need to acknowledge that you bring value and that there's a reason that people want to follow you, even if you don't even have the followers yet. They will find you, and if you're creating content and sharing things that you're really passionate about, you'll find other people that are passionate about it as well, and they'll connect with you, and you'll build a community. You will.
And do you feel like looks matter in some part of content creation, that because a lot of our world is like dragged by looks, clothes, hair,
I think there's definitely a part of the social media landscape that is still focused on looks, but I think it's really changed in the last few years, especially with the rise of TikTok and the way that almost anyone can go viral now, and you can, attract
just
people.
be doing stupid shit.
You're gonna, no matter who you are, if you get online, you will find people who like the same things as you, because our world is so big, and
True.
everyone's looking for connections that they relate to. So I don't think it matters. No.
I think that's spot on. Like,
That's part of it.
create content which you like, and people who relate to you will find you eventually, right?
They will. Might take a while, but you'll get there.
It will happen.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess this is it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time, Jensen.